Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and today I am pleased to introduce two lovely ladies. They are the co-owners of Virtual Pursers. How are you guys?
Hi, Ria.
Hi, Ria.
We're
Thanks
great.
for having us.
Well, we have Dominique and we have Beck. So, Dominique, say hello.
Hi there. Hope everyone's
and,
well.
and Beck as well.
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, let's start with you, Dominique. Where are you from originally? And tell us a little bit about you as a kid.
Well, Ria, I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. Kind of not near any form of water other than a dam. And I grew up kind of on a plot, very tomboy type childhood. And I just, from a young age, just loved travel so much. My family and I traveled all over together, and I had such a great childhood, like very innocent, very close-knit family. And yeah, it was great to grow up back then in Johannesburg, but kind of after I finished school, I really wanted to go to a great university. So I ended up moving to Cape Town for 3 years, where I studied. And yeah, I did a Bachelor of Social Science in Human Resources and Organizational Psychology. And I think that's where I just loved the ocean so much, and I wanted to be on the coast and be on the water. And yeah, so I think when I heard about yachting, I was like amazed. And I just, because I moved to Cape Town, I knew no one. So I just always had this like drive to go explore and find new places. And yeah, it was a great time in my life. So yeah.
And then you ended up in yachting. So, it's really interesting for me because more and more often, I am interviewing a lot of women that have gotten into the yachting industry, and they end up, either taking their career further in yachting or they take their career on shore again. But they take it a little bit of a roundabout route, and they've educated themselves in other areas first before choosing yachting. What was sort of your goal when you went to Cape Town? What was your goal that you were thinking you wanted to be for the rest of your life? Because obviously it wasn't yachting at that point.
Yeah. So basically in South Africa, most people go to university. It's kind of a standard thing, because if you don't really have a degree or secondary qualifications, the chances of you getting a job are quite, like a decent job with a decent salary, are quite slim. So my mom said to me, she said, go and study whatever you want. As soon as you've got your degree, you can go do whatever your heart desires. So I kind of picked something quite broad, because I just thought about, HR, every company has an HR department. I'll never be without work. That was kind of my strategy. I wasn't really particularly passionate about like one sort of thing. I've always been interested in loads of different things at once. So I kind of picked a logical option. And then I was like, great, well, once this is done, like 3 years, I'll smash it out and then, yeah, go exploring.
Well, I mean, it's great that you took that, because in actuality, as a purser, those skills do translate well. The HR department sort of type skills do translate well into being a purser.
Yeah, it was a super interesting degree, actually. It was basically, how to motivate people, very people-based, how organizations work. It went all the way from HR to, for instance, ergonomics. So, how to get the most out of your company and out of your people, mergers and acquisitions, and how to handle that with people. So yeah, it is actually coming in a lot of handy now. I didn't think it would, but yeah, I'm really starting to see the benefits of my degree finally.
Well, it looks like you're on board right now. How long have you been in yachting, and what is your position at the moment?
So this is my 10th year in yachting. Yeah, it's been a great decade, actually. I didn't think I would last this long. It was kind of one of those things where I'll go for a couple of seasons, earn some money, and then I'll move on to the next thing. But I actually ended up wanting to progress more and more the longer it went on. And I started on really small boats, and as the years went by, I kind of started climbing in rank and in boat size. So it was really interesting to see the difference between like 35 meter and 70 meter, the way things are run. So I feel like I've been all over the spectrum, and yeah, it's been a great journey.
And so what is your position now?
Oh, so right now, well, I just left my last boat as chief stew, and right now I'm temping on the sister boat actually at the boat I just left. I'm just helping them out with charters. So yeah, just temping at the moment, and got virtual posters starting. So we're really keen to get that going.
Nice. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've achieved a lot in your life, and we're going to get back to how the two of you met in a minute. But Beck, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally, and what was sort of your pathway to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. I'm Australian, born and bred. I'm from Melbourne, Victoria. It is not known at all, yachting there. It's not a big thing. Nobody at home knows what I do still to this day. And I've been in the industry since 2007, and I still get the calls of that I work on a cruise ship, and that's fine. But my background, I've always been a very hard worker. I've always had lots of jobs. I moved out at a very, very young age, and I had a full-time job, and I always had two part-time jobs on top of that. And for me, my whole life, all I ever wanted to do was travel, 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 and explore. I'm an Aries, so I'm big into adventure, and I don't know, I just always had this dream that something was going to fall into my lap. It was going to be amazing, and I didn't know what it was, but it was going to be something to do with travel. And lo and behold, one day I actually found this piece of paper on a train one day, and it was advertised of international yacht crew wanted. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I had all these dot points, and I just remember my heart literally jumping out of my chest. I just knew that I'd found something that was absolutely incredible, and I was really I just knew that this was going to be my career path, and that was back in 2007. I was super lucky. All my friends thought I was being sold into sex slavery. They had no idea what was going. Anything could have happened. Thank God it didn't. It all worked out very well. And my first boat ended up being Octopus, which was just
Wow.
one of the most prestigious yachts in the world. And I was there for quite a long time. And yeah, my love for the ocean was sort of solidified with starting in yachting. Mm.
So, when you started yachting, what was sort of your goal? Did you want to aspire to be captain? Did you think eventually you would get off boats and start an onshore business? Were you planning to be an entrepreneur at some stage?
You know what? I always thought in some way or the other I would perhaps become an entrepreneur, but no, when I joined yachting, I knew I was going to do it for a very long time. I started as a stewardess, and I certainly didn't want to be a stewardess forever, although I loved my job. I saw that as a bit of fun, and I knew at the time I wasn't ready for a career, but I knew this was going to end up being my career. In what direction or what capacity, I really wasn't quite sure. And I think what ended up happening was, a lot of other my friends started climbing the ranks and whatnot, and one thing sort of fell into place, one thing after another, and I had a lot of really incredible mentors throughout my career. One of them being Peter Vogel at Luxury Hospitality, and a couple of other people who really believed in me in ways that I didn't really see inside myself. And I ended up just climbing the ranks quite quickly, and I became a stewardess and a purser, and I just fell more and more in love with my career as opposed to just the traveling aspect. It wasn't just a fun job, it was something I was really passionate about. And yeah, so over time it just became not just a lifestyle but a future, which was really special.
So, how did the two of you meet?
Well, Do you want to?
It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to take that question, you're more than welcome to.
Well, I remember the first day I met Beck, actually. She came onto a boat called Hampshire 2, which I was working on, for an interview for the chief stew position. And I just remember her being super friendly. The first thing she said to me was like, "Hi, I'm Beck." And that was like every time she met anyone afterwards, that's her standard line. And I was like, "Oh, this girl's gonna be cool. I hope she gets the job." And then she ended up getting the job. So yeah, we worked together on Hampshire 2. I think it was 2015.
Correct. Yeah.
And I I was a service stewardess, so Beck was kind of has kind of been a mentor for me in that way.
Yeah, and you know what was so great about it as well, Ria, is we shared a cabin together, and back in 2015, we used to talk in our cabin about what will we do when we leave yachting? Do you remember that, Dom? We used to talk about that. We used to sort of brainstorm and whatnot, and because we didn't want to leave yachting, but we were like, there is an expiry date. What happens at the end of that expiry date? Like, we have to start thinking about this sort of stuff, and we always just had this really great friendship and working relationship. So we became really good friends really fast.
Yeah, we actually did a holiday together as well.
Yes.
We climbed Mount Kilimanjaro together.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
So obviously something like that sort of made you both realize that your friendship was strong enough to stand the test of, because sometimes when you're friends and you get into business together, there can be complications that arise. But I guess if you can climb a mountain together in those kind of conditions, then I'm pretty sure you can handle this, right?
Yeah, not only that, but we had an established working relationship as well, so that was already in place, as well as being friends, because the friendship kind of came after. So it was already got the ball rolling, and we know how each other works and thinks, and so it was great. It's kind of perfect.
I think the great thing about it with me and Dom is that we actually complement each other quite well. She brings to the table a lot of things that I don't bring to the table, and vice versa. And we always had that already as within our working relationship on board a boat. And when you're on board a boat, if you're able to withstand living together, working together, socializing together, breathing together, and you still actually love each other, I think that alone says a lot about our working relationship and our ability to bring that into something bigger and bolder.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you both. Beck, what do you think Dominique brings into this company, Yacht Purser?
Yeah, well, I think Dom's a very creative person, firstly, and her creative side to everything is just amazing. It's actually starting to bring out, I think, a lot of my creativity that I didn't really think that I had beforehand, and also Dominique's a very hard worker. She's a go-getter. I don't know whether this is just a natural South African trait, because every South African I meet, they've really got this entrepreneurial something inside of them that they're always like, I wouldn't say a hustler. It's like the wrong
The wrong connotation, but yes, I understand.
Dom's just got this way about her that she's just so positive, and I'm also very positive, but I think when the both of us bouncing off each other, it just grows and grows and grows, and I think that's what complements our working relationship.
Dominique, what do you see in Beck that brings to the table, and what is different about her, and what can she offer that is different than what you can offer?
Well, ever since I met Beck, she's just had the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest outlook on life. To her, the world is genuinely your oyster, and you can do anything you want to, and that's what she makes me feel like every day. And despite the fact that she thinks she's not creative, she definitely is. So we actually have these we've got names for our roles in our business already. and Beck is the visionary. So she comes with so many ideas and so many ways of doing things, and she is creative in that way, where she throws out probably 10 ideas a day at me, and they're all great. And she's got great connections in the industry, great relationships. She's very personable, very open and positive and bubbly. So I think her personality really shines through that way. And yeah, I mean, as we know, the yachting industry is so small, and your network is everything. And Beck definitely has that talent to keep that going and grow our network and have those types of relationships with with the people that we admire.
Well, you know what? It sounds like you both really respect one another, which I think is the foundation for any great partnership. It doesn't matter what kind of partnership that is. So it's amazing to see. Dominique, tell me, what can virtual pursers do for the yachting industry? What can virtual pursers do for captains, for owners, etc.?
I think we are starting to provide something that the industry has been moving towards, especially after coronavirus. It's become a lot more apparent that the purser role can be virtual. And we basically, how it came about was that we have all this knowledge and experience from the industry. We've been in it for ages, and we kind of thought it was a shame to, number one, cut our career short, and number two, take all that experience and information with us. So now we're providing a way for captains and boats to retain that knowledge and that experience, and be able to have a purser, no matter what the size of the vessel, on hand all the time. And they don't have the problem of, oh, we're gonna lose our purser in a couple of years, because it's quite a short lifespan. People want to go home and start families and things like that. So we are going to be a constant for them, which is great. And yeah, we don't cost anything. We don't take up any room on board boats, so they don't have to worry about those issues with virtual pursers. And I think it will slowly start moving towards that in the future as well. Not only smaller boats, bigger boats as well eventually.
Yeah, I think us as a team, I mean, we ultimately want to cement ourselves as the purser you'll never lose. We are a dedicated purser without the overheads. We're a shoreside solution, and I think the great thing that we are providing is the fact that all vessels now have access to a purser service. Previously, you need to have the space on board for a purser, and having this shoreside solution alleviates that. We're able to assist with alleviating captain stress, but in a shoreside capacity.
Well, Beck, I mean, from the sounds of it, then there seems to be quite a cost-saving measure in having a virtual purser, then, because, as you said, you don't have to find room for them on board. That means that if they're not on board, we're not talking about provisioning. We're not talking about, even the smallest things like toiletries that have to be provided while you're on board, as well as repatriation, the travel, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
What is the cost, sort of savings by having a virtual purser?
Yeah, I mean, it's thousands. If you look at a boat that's approximately 70 meters, they have 2 pursers on board. So you're paying 2 salaries, ultimately they're on rotation. In that aspect, to actually have a crew member, you're covering insurance, their return flights per year, food, toiletries. So all of these things, I mean, it's quite a substantial saving. But we're mainly aiming at this stage vessels that don't actually have the room for a purser on board. So we're really aiming at boats between 30 meters and 60 meters who have the need for a purser. They absolutely have all the administration need for a purser, but they just don't have the actual space on board for a purser. So that's ultimately where we're at, because they don't have to pay up for us as a crew member. We are just that shoreside solution as a service. Mm.
Well, I mean, there's many things that you take away from it as well, because, you know, for example, the amount of paperwork that can be sort of the captain doesn't have to sit and do so much paperwork at the end of the day, because generally speaking, a lot of the jobs that a purser does, the captain will have to take over, especially on a smaller vessel, because there isn't a purser. So the captain does do those jobs. So if they're able to parcel that out to somebody on shore, the captain, it frees the captain up to actually be a captain as opposed to a paper pusher, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Completely. I actually spoke to he's a captain on board the vessel that I'm on now, but he was my captain on Barbara as well. And he actually functioned without a purser, and that was a 90-meter boat. And now he has a purser, and he just said he doesn't know how he did it beforehand. Without a purser, it is a lot of paperwork, and you know, it's things that we can easily accomplish virtually for them. You know, accounts and things like that. We don't need to be right next to them to get that done.
And you know what's so crazy about it as well, Rhea, is like the steps that it goes, you know, from being a deckhand to being an officer to being a captain. You know, from being a deckhand, you're outside, you're cleaning the decks, you're wiping down, you're rinsing, all the rest of it, to becoming an officer and you're navigating, but you're still working on deck, to becoming a captain, when really your job then becomes 90% administration. And it's crazy. There's no amount of training that actually none of their training, you know, caters for all of the HR, all of the accounting, all of these things. And it's not to say that a captain can't do it, don't get me wrong. They're very, very intelligent, very, very capable, but the amount of work that then goes into doing something aside from what they actually want to be doing is absolutely crazy. So I would say that having a purser on board these vessels, especially in this day and age with the amount of administration that is on board, is a necessity. And, you know, that's where, you know, we really want to show that, you know, it doesn't matter the size of the vessel, or the amount of time that they want us to assist. You know, maybe it's only 2 hours a day. That's 2 hours a day of their life that they're going to get back.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the fact is, at the end of the day, those 2 hours are possibly 2 hours that the captain could be doing something that really needs his attention. And it's something very simple. It's, you know, booking a flight or figuring out what passport somebody needs or what tickets somebody needs or whether or not they need upgrading. Whereas, why is the captain trying to figure that out?
Yeah.
When you could have somebody like you have all the information in your computer, and it probably would cut that time in half by doing it on shore.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
So what is great about you two is that when you're going back home pretty quick, back, and you're going to be in Australia, right?
Correct. Yes.
And
Yes.
Dominique, when you go home, you're going to be in South Africa.
Yes, I will be. Yes.
So the great thing about the two of you is that you're literally going to be able to cover 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, based on the fact that you're in different time zones, and you'll be able to make sure that if somebody hires you, it doesn't matter what time zone they're in, it doesn't matter where they're in the world, there will be somebody there in order to assist.
Exactly. And, you know, for now it's just Beck and I, but eventually we started this company to empower other pursers that would like to prolong their career. It's not just for us. It's you know, so that they have the option of moving ashore, but not losing all the hard work that they've put in to get to where they are. So, you know, as the company grows, as we grow, we'll have more and more people at different parts of the world. And in this day and age, technology makes it so easy, you know, like why not? And there are so many great pursers out there that are getting lost as soon as they leave the boat, and it's such a shame. So yeah, we'll be very keen to, you know, eventually start taking more people on, more time zones, more boats. It would be great.
It was.
You envision a day where there is no need to have a purser on board, and maybe there is, for example, like you two, virtual pursers all over the world, at home in front of their computers or their personal office or wherever it may be, taking care of the issues that a purser would normally take care of, can you see that for the future?
I would say I'd like to see a shift in the industry, but I wouldn't say that that it would eliminate the need for a purser on board a ship, because on every vessel a purser is used in completely different ways. There are some vessels where an onboard purser is, for that owner, an absolute necessity. And in those sort of cases, I mean, I've worked on boats like that before. My previous boat, 100%, it's an onboard purser role. But there are plenty of times where I have been absolutely overrun with work and I haven't been able to get to certain things. And I would have loved assistance with itineraries or something like that. So I don't see the purser role being abolished at all on board, but I certainly do see a shift, and as Dom said, for us, when we sort of got to this crossroad where we sort of hit the ceiling, and we found that there was no more growth in our roles, individually, and we were looking to expand, like what could we do for ourselves and for the industry. We started thinking, when we started thinking about the business, we started thinking, well, if we're thinking like this, how many other people are also thinking like this? If we've been thinking like this since 2015, how many other women or other pursers out there who have also been like, okay, we've spent this entire time building up this incredible career, and now is that it? Do I have to start again? So a really big part of us starting this business is not just really between the two of us. It's really about creating something or cementing virtual pursers as an established solution so that other people, other pursers also feel that they are able to lengthen their careers. So I think that's ultimately what we want to see for the future.
Yeah, and just to add to that, one of our main benefits is that Beck and I have experience on board a vessel, and if you have someone handling your paperwork and everything that goes with it in yachting, and they don't have that initial understanding, it's very difficult to get that across to them. It's a very unique industry. So yeah, pursers on board, it's quite, like Beck says, they'll never maybe not be completely eliminated because they need that understanding of how it works,
Absolutely.
so that they know how to deliver it to captains eventually, because it's such an integral part of being a purser is understanding how it works on board.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? I think it sounds absolutely amazing. And, both of you are very, very unique in what you bring to the table, and very accomplished. And I do commend you both on not only, your education, but your experience as well.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
Well, you know what? I do look forward to hearing more about the direction in which you both take. I know, Dominique, you are on board right now working. Beck, you are just a week away from heading home. And I wish you both the best of luck. And I would like to revisit perhaps in maybe 6 months and see where you guys have gotten to and what your next step is in life.
Definitely.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So if people want to use your services, we will make sure, if you could just let us know what the website is first.
It's www.virtualpursers.com. And
okay, we'll make sure to put the link on down below. And Facebook, Dominique?
Yeah, we're on all the socials, so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Virtual Pursers.
Nice. Well, we'll put all those links. We'll tag on the interview as well. Ladies, thank you ever so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. As I said, we will follow up. I thank the audience for listening and viewing in. And once again, you've been watching another edition of Yacht Crew Blogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. Please tune in again for another episode.